guys. I love calco work. Except it's hard!
Hello, son. Are you ready to learn about history?
No.
Well, homework, I see.
Yeah.
No. Oh, God! What have you done? Are you ready to learn about early humans? Perfect. Early humans originated in Africa. As they developed, they eventually started something known as the agricultural revolution. This meant that they no longer had to be nomadic peoples, as some people would sit down and farm while everybody else did the fun stuff that they wanted to do. However, there was one downside to having cities as they now were. Disease spread a lot easier, and that led to lots of people dying from disease. Look! You didn't really appreciate my last talk about the early humans, so how about we talk about ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia?
No.
They both developed new
theories in mathematics,
created wonders
which are still around
today, like the pyramids, which are huge. However, they suffered in the area of treating everyone fairly, even though Mesopotamia had Hammurabi's Code, which was a set of written laws. They didn't treat everyone equally, mostly men. Next on our list is ancient India. They developed two major religions which are still important to this day, Hinduism and Buddhism. Despite these religions, though, they excelled at war. They also had a rigid societal system called the caste system, which kept different members of their society in place.
At least I can get away from that insane guy.
Oh, walking out on my history lesson wasn't very nice. Back to the learning classroom.
No. Thanks.
Are you ready to learn about ancient China?
Fine.
Well, ancient China built many huge monuments.
Like that Great Wall?
Exactly. They also started the Silk Road, which allowed for trading among the Eurasian countries. However, their monuments required lots of manpower and resources, which led to many emperors being killed in revolts. And this was basically the dynastic cycle. An emperor would take over, they'd bring fruit to the nation, it would develop well, and then the entire economy would just collapse, and the emperor would be killed.
What exactly did I find here?
Oh, well, that's an ancient artifact from Greece. Greece was known for furthering the areas of science, mathematics, philosophy, and the arts. However, they struggled with being separated for so long as individual city-states, since Greece was made up of archipelagos, or chains of islands. Many of these artifacts still last to today and are admired in museums. Speaking of ancient Greece, do you know what civilization was very similar to them, except for in the many ways it wasn't? Ancient Rome. Like ancient Greece, ancient Rome had a very distinct architectural style. Many buildings with this style still stand today even. On top of that, they had a huge army, which managed to conquer huge swaths of land. However, due to infighting and pretty crazy emperors, the giant empire eventually collapsed. And that's all for ancient Rome.
Well, I gotta go.
Oh, not just yet. We still have more to learn about.
What are we doing over here?
Well, I certainly didn't want the hall monitors to find us. But that's not important. It's time you learned about Islam.
You mean the bad guys from the Middle East?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There may be a small faction that do violent things, but that doesn't mean everybody does. Islam started out as a warlike empire, but many people follow it peacefully today. Some small groups act out in violent ways, claiming they follow the rules of Islam. However, the vast majority of people peacefully push against their own inner struggles and spread peace and love and tolerance. Look what I found on this globe. It's North America, Central America, and South America. Place. The civilizations of South and Central America were rather impressive, seeing as they had a very short time to build the empires that they did compared to other civilizations. They even managed some very impressive architecture. Now let's head over to my graphic so I can show you how the empires actually fell. While there are still debates as to why the Mayan Empire fell, as you can see from this helpful diagram I've drawn, the Aztecs and the Incas were destroyed when the conquistadores came over from Spain. They brought diseases that these two empires were not used to yet, and then killed them all. As you can see from this new picture I've drawn, there was a trade network that spanned from Africa to Asia. It was called the Indian Ocean Trade Network, and it allowed the trading of goods and mostly luxury items between these two places. This created a stronger economy and more jobs in both Africa and all of Asia. However,
a main issue for another country,
Portugal, was that they weren't able
to easily get in on
this trading, and it eventually led to them attacking Africa. Look at how small Mongolia is on this map. At one point, it used to be much larger. The empire spanned all of this area and was ruled by Genghis Khan. Many of his descendants are still alive today, perhaps
16
million of them. One thing that they did that was very important and provided a big economic boost to the entire continent was the reopening of the Eurasian Silk Road. However, despite this success of creating a huge empire and economically boosting the whole area, the Mongols still kind of suffered with maintaining control of the people, and eventually the Mongol Empire split into 4 different empires in and of themselves, and were eventually overthrown. Well, I can tell that you've enjoyed learning all about ancient world history. I think it's time we move on to our next subject, modern world history. Oh, well, I wonder if he wanted his calculus homework back.